Hello, everyone. This is the second half to the Lawyaw lecture. In order to proceed with this video, you should have watched the first half, which is how to use the program. This half is going to focus on how to format our forms. And when we did the first part of this video, I was just introducing you to the software, so we didn't worry at all about formatting. But now that you're pros with the software, I'm going to teach you the formatting rules. One major thing to remember is that you are a paralegal. You are a legal professional. Lawyaw does not replace you. If it did, we would be without jobs, wouldn't we? All forms still need editing. Read that again. All. Doesn't say the majority. Every legal form that you do on Lawyaw or using any other program still needs editing. Common ways it needs editing. Lawyaw doesn't put commas in. Lawyaw is a tool. It will help us, but it does not get us all of the way. It helps us. It saves us a lot of time, but we still need to edit every single document. Also, sometimes Lawyaw will self-populate incorrect information. So the name of the game is you must proofread every single form at least once, if not multiple times. Now, when we talk about drafting our forms, we do have specific formatting rules. The first one is, how do we write an attorney's name? On your screen is how you write the attorney's name. It's the name, so our example here is Robert Jones. Then you want a comma. Then you want Esquire, which we use ESQ with the E being capitalized and then a period. Then there is a space and a parentheses, then the notion SBN. SBN means state bar number. Lawyers, we're exactly like prisoners. When you go to prison, you get a number. Well, when you become a lawyer, you get a number. That number is required to be on everything that is submitted. So you do SBN, a colon are those two dots, and then the state bar number, and then a closed parentheses. That is the only way that you type in a lawyer's name on a form. All caps. If you use all caps on your forms, it is like you are screaming. And if you've ever tried to read something in all text, it is in all caps, it is very challenging to read. The only thing that we put in all caps on a legal form is the name of the law firm. Nothing else goes in all caps. So let's say, for example, this is the law offices of Jones & Jones. That can be all in caps, but nothing else on your form. The last thing you want to do is yell at the judge. Again, caps is the equivalent of yelling at the court. You don't want to do this. Typing in all caps is very challenging to read. It makes your form looks very sloppy. We do use all caps for the law firm's name just to make that stand out a bit. Now, who are you the attorney for? Our rule here is that we need name and title. So what does that mean? Look at the first bullet point there. It doesn't just say plaintiff, and it doesn't just say Mickey Mouse. It says plaintiff Mickey Mouse. If you just write plaintiff and there are a couple plaintiffs, I don't know who you're talking about. If you just write mouse and you don't indicate whether the mouse is the plaintiff or defendant, I don't know who you're talking about. So our rule is you always do title and name. We don't do Mr. or Ms. in forms. What I'm going to show you on the next couple of slides are some examples to illustrate the last point. You need to review the form to see what is pre-printed. If you recall in the first part of this lecture, I explained that every single judicial council form is different. You must proofread and pay attention to the particular form that you are completing for this case. We're going to look at these two screenshots. Let's begin on the left. At the top, I want you to notice the attorney's name. Angel Morales, comma, Esquire, then we have the state bar number. Right below it, we have the law office, and we just learned that that could be in all caps. Then we have the address, which we will get to in a few minutes. But jump down to right under the email address and see where it says attorney for. Because we need name and title, we need to put defendant Maria Gomez. Let's compare that over to the right-hand side screenshot. Let's look at right where it says plaintiff, petitioner, and defendant, respondent at the top. Because plaintiff is already printed there in the form, we would not type it in again. So we wouldn't do plaintiff Barbara Paul Peterson because the form already has it. The same thing for in the middle where it says party intending to appear by telephone. Because plaintiff is already printed there, you don't have to retype it. So let's review that. Look over at the left-hand side screenshot where it says attorney for. It's right in the middle. It doesn't indicate whether it's a plaintiff or defendant, so we need to type that in. Compare that to the right-hand side of your screen, that screenshot. Time and abbreviations. The only way to abbreviate AM and PM on a form is to type a lowercase a and then a period and then an M and a period, or P period M period. Some people put those in caps. Some people forget the periods. That is incorrect. Anytime you put a time on a form, for example, the form may say hearing time. You would need to put 8:30 a.m. with AM exactly as it's illustrated on this slide. Also, if you are going to abbreviate California, the proper abbreviation for California is a capital C and a capital A. That is the one and only proper abbreviation for California. Now, if you ever forget that, my suggestion to you on forms is to not abbreviate. Abbreviations can get you in trouble because if they're not done right, that is an error. A form is a formal legal document. There is nothing wrong with using complete words. Address. Now be very careful with addresses that you are completing what the form wants. For example, sometimes legal forms will only want the city and the zip code. That is because the forms are specific to a state, so they don't want you typing in the state. They may just want you to say Pasadena 90017. So read the form. The form will tell you what to do. Watch abbreviations in your address. If you're going to abbreviate, for example, street, it's ST with a period. As I indicated on the previous slide, if you're not fully sure how to abbreviate something, you're better off typing out the word. Now here's a biggie. Lawyaw will not populate punctuation. You, as the paralegal, must edit the document. So let's look at the two examples there. This is the address for Cerritos College. The first one in the white shows how Lawyaw would populate the address. So it's going to type it in for you, and that's going to save you a significant amount of time. But it does not populate those commas. You would need to put a comma after Boulevard and after Cerritos. You do not put a comma after California. Notice here, I did not abbreviate Boulevard. I went ahead and typed it all out. Again, you need a comma after the street name and after the city. Lawyaw will not put it in for you. Pronouns are rarely used in forms. What is a pronoun? Pronouns are when we say I, he, she, us. So if you're answering a question on a form and you, for example, write, he was in a car accident, the court is going to have no idea who you're talking about. So instead of he, you would write, defendant Donald Duck was in a car accident. Remember, we always use name and title. So you wouldn't merely say defendant was in a car accident. You need to use defendant and the name. Same thing, you don't say I am submitting this form because who is I? So watch your pronouns in forms. Font size. Lawyaw is a fantastic modern program that gives you a lot of freedom to change and alter the forms. That's the good part. The bad part, the flip side about that is Lawyaw will allow you to fit as much text as you want into a box. And what happens is if you start typing, the font will just get smaller and smaller and smaller. However, Your font size for court documents must remain at 12 point. That is a court rule. So when you are typing into Lawyaw, if you notice your font size shrinking, you have too much information there. So what do you have to do? Well, you have to understand and digest the information. For the Law 56 course on your assignment, I intentionally gave you too much information. So if you try to cut and paste it and you don't fully understand, your font size will become too small and you will lose points. So watch your font size. It must remain at 12-point font. State bar number. We don't duplicate a bar number. I want you to look at every single form you are filling out. Notice the one on your screen here. It has a spot for the state bar number. So in the name slot there, you would just put the attorney's name followed by Esquire. So when we first talked about how to format an attorney's name on one of our first slides in this presentation, we said Robert Jones, comma, Esquire, and then we did our parentheses. Well, you wouldn't do that here because the state bar number has its own little box. So you would put a state bar number in the box, and where it says name, you would do Robert Jones, comma, ESQ. All forms are different, and you need to be sure that you proofread all forms and edit what Lawyaw self-populates. Court address. You have a couple of options with the court address. So let's look at the screenshot. It says Superior Court of California, County of, and then you type in Los Angeles. But notice it has a street address and a mailing address. This is because some courts get their mail at a different location. It's kind of like if you would have a P.O. box or somewhere else where you get the mail. We don't have that in LA and Orange, but remember these forms are for the entire state of California. You have two ways of dealing with this issue. I will tell you the way it is put on your screen in the screenshot is incorrect. So you can either retype. So in this one, for example, the mailing address would be 111 North Hill Street. You would have that same information in both lines. The alternative is you can type same. So looking at this screenshot, in the mailing address, you would type same. You do not leave it blank. Now the branch name of a court requires two items. It requires what district you're in and what courthouse you're in. If you don't know where you are or which district you're in, you can always obtain that information on the internet. So for example, let's pretend on this one we're in the Central District, but the Central District has a lot of courthouses. So where are we? Well, we're at the Santa Monica Courthouse. So if we were down towards San Diego, we would no longer be in the Central District. So again, for your branch name, you need what district and what courthouse. That is the end of this lecture. Have a great day.